Welcome to this new segment that I'm doing.
Yeah, thank you.
We're going to put this out as a podcast after the show airs.
Okay.
So, who are you?
Yes.
What do you do?
My name is Rachel, last name Itsell, and I am a swing dance instructor. So it's like vintage swing dancing from anywhere between like the 1920s through like 1940s, 50s.
So, take me back in the Wayback Machine. I don't know how far it goes back.
Yeah.
But somewhere along the line, let's talk about when you first fell in love with it, or maybe found out, or maybe ventured from one form of a dance, maybe to that form of dance. So how did this happen?
So actually this was my first love, swing dancing. I found that first. I was in my undergrad and college, actually. So this was about 18 years ago. I had gone out with the guy that I was dating at the time, and we saw swing dancers out, and we just were so impressed with it. And we had gone up to the group and just kind of asked them like, oh, where do you do this? Is there some place that we can come out and do it as well? And it happened to be the owner of the place that we ended up going to, which was like a bar restaurant. And then we went out one Thursday night and found out that they do the swing dancing there. It was actually in Erie, Pennsylvania is where I started. And Thursday nights is when they did their swing dancing. And that was it. Like, that was the end of it. We went out and we loved it, and we started going ever since. And I just kind of learned everything I could. I actually learned from the DJ who did all the music. So he was my dance coach for like 9 years. So yeah.
I'm sorry, I get distracted by grabbing my headphones.
Yeah.
So normally I try to listen to every word you say.
You're okay.
So how many years now has it been?
Oh, it's been 18 years I've been dancing.
18 years. So
yeah.
I guess the big question everybody has, how long did it take you where you felt like, hey, I kind of like this. I'm good at it.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's always an evolving process.
Yeah.
Course, but when did you start feeling comfortable when you were dancing shoes for this?
I mean, I loved it right away. But yeah, I would say probably maybe like 2.5, 3 years, and everything kind of started to click for me. I was also learning a lot of different dances at the same time. So I was learning Lindy Hop and Balboa and Charleston, and I did some salsa and some blues dancing. So I kind of dove right into it. So I learned a lot of different things all at once. So yeah, probably like 2.5, 3 years to get really comfortable. So
you didn't just jump into, I mean, you jumped right into doing all different types of dance. So was swing dancing the the gateway dance, I guess we'll say, for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, actually, I had kind of had an introduction to it. Believe it or not, in middle school, we actually had a project that we had to do where you had to learn a dance, and you just had to do, very limited choreography, and then you had to present it. And so I happened to pick that dance. My older brother, had given me swing dance music. That was my first introduction to it. It was actually the Squirrel Nut Zippers. So then once we got to that project in middle school, I was kind of familiar, and then I learned a little bit on my own and was able to kind of start there. So it was in middle school, and then not really heavily. I didn't hit it hard until I got to college again. So yeah.
So for someone that maybe is just entering here and they're like, what's this swing dance stuff? So can you explain to me in your best words, what is swing dance?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, first and foremost, it's definitely a social and a community activity. I think it was an activity that during different times in history brought people together. But it's definitely social. It is a partnered dance. It is, I wouldn't say choreographed, but there are very specific steps to each different type of dance that you can do. So there's like Lindy Hop that you can learn, and that's certain steps. There's Charleston. There's a 6-count East Coast dance you can learn. So they're all just basically different types of dance that you can learn, and it's partnered, and then it's also social. So not only do you go with a partner, but you can go out to a social dance floor, or I think at some point in history, people were dancing in, basements with each other, and you just sort of hung out with all your friends and you danced to records. And, so I think it's evolved over the years from that. But yeah, it's very social. It's, partnership. It's, very exhibitionist almost, because you get very flashy if you can learn certain things. So it's also performance art as well. You can teach this, so it's very sought after, I believe, if people see someone do this well, like they want to learn how to do it. So it's kind of a lot of different things, I guess, but yeah.
So every dance is a little different.
Yeah.
Especially in the way you posture yourself. Maybe you have perfect posture in one dance when you're doing, maybe you're a little bit loose in another dance. But it seems that this is what is this, get down low kind of? It's got a low bouncy feel to it. So you talk about the low bouncy feel of swing dance.
Yeah, so we kind of always tell people that it's a little different than ballroom, because ballroom is danced a little bit more upright. So that with the type of dance that we do, we actually kind of want you to dance all your energy into the floor. So we kind of tell people, you want to have a little bend in the knee. It's athletic, just like anything else. You want to have some activity in your arms too, because you're dancing with another person. And then, you kind of just want to take your natural steps as if you were walking, kind of is how I tell people, because then it keeps your balance, all of those things. And then you also have like this pulse that you keep. And that kind of is consistent in each different kind of dance. So like Lindy has a pulse, Balboa has a pulse, Charleston has a pulse. And it's kind of like the anchor. It like pulls everything together in those different dances. And that's kind of where that dancing into the ground or dancing low kind of comes from.
And is it like a 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1? Is that kind of, I don't.
Kind of, yeah. It just depends on what you're doing. So like Lindy Hop can be very consistent, but that's like considered an 8 count. So it would just be like a 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then 6 count, there's a little, I don't know, there's different theories on how to count that. But like when we teach 6 count, we do 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6. So it kind of just depends on, what you're teaching. And but really it's kind of kept in like that 8 count phrase of music that you use, and then depends on how you count it, I guess. So
say somebody's watching this and they're like, wow, you got me. I want to go do this.
Yeah.
So how do they do this? How do your classes go?
Yeah.
How does this, how does it evolve?
How does it work? Yeah, absolutely. We usually start people with a 6 count because I think it's just the most easy to digest, and then it's also the most easy to social dance. So I think it gets people started pretty quickly. You can teach them probably 4 or 5 things in an hour and you get them dancing. And then it's also very easy to go and then ask another person to dance because you've kind of all learned the same thing. You know that's the 6 count dance. You give them like a couple of moves that are pretty easy to do for the most part, and then we also kind of tell people too that if you go out into social dancing, like most people that learned how to dance know those things. So even if they've danced for 5 years and you're new, they're going to know like, oh, do you know the tuck turn, or do you know this, so it's kind of easy to get them started in that sense.
And at the moment you have beginner classes and advanced classes and open dance.
Yes, all of those things.
And can you tell me about what to expect in those type of classes?
Yeah, so we always do a 6 count. We want to keep that consistent because that is like kind of like you said earlier, sort of the gateway or sort of gets people going. That's like the easiest thing to learn. So we always do a 6 count basic lesson at 7 o'clock. And then the 6 o'clock one is, we consider it more advanced, like an intermediate advanced. So we might teach like Lindy, and we'll do maybe like several months of Lindy Hop, or we might do several weeks of Balboa. So we're always kind of changing that. And we've had a group of people that have come to us for a really long time. So it was kind of ready for like that next step. So a lot of those people are the ones coming to that advanced class and learning a different kind of dance. But what's cool is they're all related because they're all swing dances. So there's things that cross over a lot.
And can you tell me where the classes are at now?
Yeah, so the classes are always going to be at the Rialto Theatre and on Kenmore Boulevard in Kenmore. And we do 6 o'clock, the advanced, and 7 o'clock for the basic lesson. And we do, like you said, the open dance, usually like 8 to 10 or a little bit after. We do DJs. So I usually do the music, but sometimes we have guest DJs come in. And then sometimes we have guest instructors come in as well.
And for people watching behind the scenes here, we're on the stage right now.
Yeah.
Which is really cool to be on the Rialto stage.
Yeah.
I mean, there's this long history here, but
a
lot of movies been played here, a lot of performances lately. How many musicians? Oh, man.
Yes.
But anyways, it's a nice little comfortable spot here.
It is.
And okay, so people can come in as a couple or people can come in as singles. So talk about how it can be a fun time for somebody, no matter where they're at in their life with relationships.
Absolutely. We just kind of tell people that, if you come in kind of open-minded, just think you can do it because you can. We just keep it very fun, very light. We keep it very accessible. So I actually am a teacher by trade. So I try to teach people in different ways. So if they're not understanding it one way, I try to just show it in several different ways so that people can at least pick, certain things up if they can't. We definitely encourage people to ask questions as well. And then we always encourage people to and tell them, like, we always start at square one. So we're going to start here. We're going to kind of end here. We sort of give them that path. So they kind of know where they're headed. And then we always tell them too, like, we always plan way more than we might get to. So if you want to stay longer at something, please tell us, because we'll just stay on the triple step or we'll stay on this certain thing. And we really just try to have them get as much out of it as they can, because that's really the point. They need to get something out of it. And I think that's what helps them have the most fun, because they're not as frustrated if they feel like they can really work on something or along those lines. And then as far as if you didn't come in with somebody, we always jump in. Mike and I both lead and follow. So we'll jump in and, we'll lead or we'll follow, just depending. And then sometimes people are comfortable switching partners. So we always kind of offer that option, that if they want to switch and try dancing with someone else, they can do that as well. So there's a few different things we can do to kind of incorporate everybody. And then we actually also tell people too, if you don't want to switch, that's also okay. Because there's people that are just kind of comfortable with their, they have their person. So we just kind of try to keep it, as light and open and accepting to everybody's comfort level. And I think that helps a lot. So, yeah.
So let's talk about attire. I noticed shoes. I think personally having some shoes for at least for me, some slicker shoes so I can slide around a little bit. So let's talk about the attire for something like this.
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, we always tell people, please wear whatever you are comfortable in, because that is what's going to make you be the most comfortable, have the most fun, and you're going to feel the most confident that way. So that is first and foremost what we say. There are definitely two ends of the spectrum that you can go here. So, I mean, people come all dressed out, dressed up, decked out in the vintage, that type of stuff. They have like the nice leather bottom shoes, whatever works. But we also tell people like, hey, Keds are easy to dance in, or if you have a pair of Chuck Taylors, those are okay to dance in too. And then we do say also, if you have a pair of shoes that move pretty well on the floor, that's probably what you want to wear. Keep your knees safe, those kinds of things. And then just as far as clothes, whatever you're comfortable in is kind of what we say. But if you want to go all out, please do. We also encourage that as well. So.
I got one more question for you, but is there anything before we switch to any other interview that you want to bring up that I might not have brought up so far?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think just one thing that I love about this dance is that it is a built-in community. So you can literally go anywhere in the country or the world. And if this dancing exists, you will find them. And you just got to ask the right people and kind of be involved in the right places. And they will welcome you with open arms. So if you're looking for something, you just move somewhere, or if you travel a lot and this is something you like to do, it is like an instant community family. Like you can go and dance. You don't even have to speak the same language. If they know how to dance, like that's, I think that's something that's really cool, that no matter what, that you can always find that. So I don't know. I think a lot more people should do it because of that purpose, because I think it creates that community that not a lot of people experience in their life. So.
And one more thing. Yeah. It's a very diverse age group.
It is.
You can be pretty young to do this. I brought my daughter, I think, the original time when she was, I don't know, 12, I think at the time, something like that, maybe younger. And I've seen people here, I mean, I don't know their age, but they're definitely upper senior years.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It seems like it's pretty good for anybody, as long as, you don't have any physical ailments, you can get out here and do this.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that. I encourage people to do it because honestly, I think as you grow older, it is something that's easier to do because you can kind of control the level of intensity that you do it at, but it still keeps you moving. So if it's something you can learn and keep learning as you do it, it's something you will literally always be able to do. And actually, it'll probably keep you in better health if you're constantly moving or doing this. So yeah, I mean, you can do it till you're 90, hopefully, and then kids are they learn everything. They learn so quickly that if you can start them at an early age, like it's something they can pick up and then do their entire life. And then kind of like I said, have that built-in community if it's something they decide that they love. So.
I lied. I have another question here. So we talked about earlier before the interview kicked in that I thought that this would make great corporate bonding, corporate events where you get together and you learn to get along with your team.
Absolutely.
This would make it excellent. So talk about, you're available for this or something. Because I don't know, this would be excellent. I think.
No, I completely agree. And like, we haven't done anything specifically with like team bonding, but we actually have had people hire us for like, oh, we're doing a preschool party and we want to do this whole theme. And we actually went in and did this party for this. It was an anniversary party, I think, for a preschool. And so they had us come in, we did a lesson, and then we also did a performance part of it. And it just adds a little something to whatever your event is. And then as far as like the team building piece of it, I think it's interesting because like, yes, there's a lot of kind of common team building that a lot of people do, but I think swing dancing or dance in general is one of those things that makes you communicate with your coworkers. It helps you build that trust. It helps you build a clear communication path with that person. And then it just kind of makes you think too. So it kind of makes you think about things differently because like when you're starting to learn something new, you may not always know how you're going to learn that. So I think it helps you think outside the box. And then I think it also helps other people. So like if somebody may understand something and they can explain it better to somebody else, I think that helps them work together as well, that they get information from us, but if they can look to their coworkers to also, help them in these situations. I mean, I think it's a great thing. I mean, I would definitely be totally interested in it. It would be great. So
I think it's a great thing. And I think, for all you CEOs and executives listening to watch this, I mean, you're going to get together and you're going to learn from each other. You're going to learn learn to and what is working in a corporate environment is nothing more than a corporate dance.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, you have to learn how to navigate around people, move around people, and it will make you move and navigate around people better and more comfortably. So give them a call.
No,
so,
I agree.
How would they find you?
Yeah. So I know that the Rialto has their own personal page. So I believe it's the rialtotheater.com. They also have a Facebook presence as well. You can just look up, the Rialto Theater as well. We just kind of operate on our own personal emails and phone numbers and things like that. So, I mean, if they got a hold of the theater, they'd be able to get a hold of us. Seth can always just, pass the information along to me. I mean, I can give an email address too.
For that matter, I'll just have a link. If you get a hold of me and if you see this, like I want them, send me a text, send me an email, comment underneath, and I'll get back to you privately. I won't send your email to the whole world.
Yeah, no, that works.
And that way they can get that and get a hold of you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for making time for me today. We're going to go ahead and do a pause, do a quick switch. Welcome. So we're here at the podcast, behind the scenes kind of aspect. So who are you and what do you do?
My name is Mike Arteno, and I'm one of the dance instructors here at the Rialto Theatre. We do swing dance nights here on the second and fourth Wednesdays of every month. And I help teach that.
So take me in the Wayback Machine. It's one of the first questions I love to ask. And it may not have been that far. It may have been a long time ago. When's the first time you got into swing dancing? And was that your first form of dance that you got into, or did it evolve from something else?
It kind of evolved from ballroom dancing. And then some friends from that invited me to a swing dance up in Cleveland. And I went and I had a great time and I loved the music. I kind of grew up with a lot of that music being around my grandparents and stuff. And I just kind of got hooked on the scene, the music, the people. It was just a ton of fun. Everybody was super inviting and friendly. And so I kind of started growing away from the ballroom dancing and more just into just doing swing dancing.
So, traditional swing dancing, and how long ago was that, would you say, that you've been doing this now for?
That was probably about 12 years ago.
12 years ago? And that same question I asked her before was like, when did you find that you were feeling good about it? I mean, did you feel, I kind of dig this. I'm getting good at it. Did it take you a long time, or was it something you caught on quickly?
I would say I started digging it right away, but it was probably not that long. Maybe, I don't know, 6 months to a year when it started to gel, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm more comfortable with this now,
So the one thing that's interesting about it to me too, there's a lead and a follow. And traditionally it's the male lead, the female follow, but it varies. So talk about that concept, the lead and the follow. Like, how does that work in your mind when you're dancing?
Well, I mean, I started out learning to lead, and then after a couple years of leading, I was practicing with a buddy of mine, and we didn't have a follow around, so we were trying to get this move together, and so I started learning how to follow as well, and it really made me realize what it took to be a good lead, because I could see it from the other side. So I feel like, at some point, anybody that dances a lot should probably learn to lead and follow, because it makes you a more well-rounded dancer. I feel learning to follow definitely made me a better lead.
Yeah, that makes sense, because you got to know, I mean, what it feels like,
Right.
So probably after, not leading for the first time, you probably realize, oh wow, maybe I was doing this wrong, or I wasn't as intentional as I needed to be.
Yeah, maybe my movements weren't as clear as I thought they were, Yeah, so it definitely made me a stronger lead once I realized what it took to follow.
So a lot of people haven't danced since high school dances or something, maybe even junior high. Maybe they didn't go to their prom or whatever. And a lot of times you have the people split in the side of the room looking at each other. And it kind of starts out when you do your basic dances, then it moves and people start mingling. So what's your advice to someone that's maybe a little bit nervous about coming in? Maybe they're coming in by themselves. Maybe they're coming with somebody else, and they've never done this before. What's your advice to them?
I would say, well, we've all been there, because I was in my late 20s when I started dancing, and I hadn't danced since high school, So it was, we've all been there. And every time that we teach a lesson here at the Rialto Theatre, we start from scratch. So if you have zero experience dancing at all, except just maybe bebopping around to a song in your car or something while you're driving, you'll be fine. and it's a very welcoming scene. Everybody's here to have a good time. Everybody's learning, and we're all learning at different levels, and we all remember being like, oh, like the first time, and you're there and you're freaking out. Yeah, and I'd say, you know, it's a laid back way to learn to dance here at the Rialto, because well, it's small groups. It's everybody ends up becoming friends with everybody. You know, you see a lot of the same faces each time, and it's just it's a welcoming scene.
You know, I'm not real versed, and I've come a couple times, and I do it, and I do go out and dance and whatnot. But it's, you know, dancing's like a heartbeat. It's a rhythm, and then if you can count and you can feel your heartbeat, you can do this. It's you only got to learn. I don't want people to think they got to come in here and memorize like 55 steps, and then if they don't get those 55 steps down, they're going to look a fool. I mean, you teach them a short little thing, and then they can expand from there. So let's talk about the short little few steps, and you expand.
Yeah. And so, I mean, when we start, we're teaching East Coast Swing, which is also known as Jitterbug. And I like to think of it as a little 3-part dance. And the first part is literally just 2 steps. So it's like 2 little steps, and you're like 33% done already. And then you take a couple more steps and a couple more steps, and then the whole thing repeats. And it's a really solid foundation that you can do to not just swing dance music, but you can take that same basic dance and you could do it to rock, you can do it to country, you can do it to R&B, you can do it to like so many different genres of music. Then it fits in there well. And so, yeah, I mean, if you've ever listened to a song and just kind of bobbed your head and been like, yeah, I'm feeling this, you know, you can probably pick this dance up, and you can take it all kinds of different places. You can do all kinds of different things with it. But the basic building blocks are pretty simple.
So I come here and I get a couple moves down. And I feel really good when I leave. And then I'll go home and I'll turn on my Twitter or whatever, or TikTok, and I'm looking through, and you see like the real dancers on there. Right. And wow, are they good? It's almost like, to me, it's like a sun and a planet. Like the way that the duality and spinning and using each other's weight and balance. And so when does it evolve to that?
Well, I mean, like anything, it depends on the amount of time and energy you put into it. You know, I mean, if you just come here and dance, you know, two times a month and that's it, then you're going to probably progress, you know, a little slower than somebody who goes out and dances or finds somebody to practice with and dances 4 or 5 times a week. So like anything in life, I feel like you progress at the amount of effort you put into it. But just to get you out on the floor and get you going, we can do that in, you know, a very short time, like an hour, and you can enjoy the rest of the night. You can learn a couple moves, have the basic down. And then if you're really enjoying it, then yeah, I've seen people go from first class ever to 3-4 months later. I'm watching them and I'm like, wow, they look amazing out there. You know, because they've put in the effort and they're having a great time, and they just excel faster because of, you know, the amount of effort that they're putting into it and the time that they put into it. You know, the thing I like about it too is I don't like exercise that seems like exercise, you know, but if I can like trick myself into like playing and make that my exercise, and dance is really good for that. I feel like, yeah, you can be out there and you're getting movement in and you're having fun, and you don't even realize it at the end of the night. You're like, wow, I just did like 20,000 steps, you know? And yeah, and so I think it's a great form of exercise too, because you don't even realize you're exercising. You're just having fun with music and meeting people.
Agreed 100%. So we got people getting ready to come in here, and I don't want to hold anything up. Yeah. Anything you want to add that I might not have brought up with you so far?
If you're right on the fence and you're just curious, come check it out. I mean, it's a good time. It's relatively affordable here, and I think it's a really great atmosphere. It's a great entry into learning how to dance. Yeah.
Excellent, Mike. Thank you so much for your time.